In this video, I'm going to give you 5 mistakes that CPAs make regarding independence documentation. So the first mistake is we don't document our non-attest services. If you're performing an attest service such as an audit or a review engagement, and then you also perform a non-attest service such as a tax return or such as preparation of financial statements, then you need to document those non-attest services on your independence form. So that's the first mistake that CPAs make. The second mistake has to do with documentation of the skill, knowledge, and experience of your client. So as you perform a non-attest service such as the tax return or the financial statements, you're supposed to give that deliverable, that work product, to a designated person with the client, and that person should review that deliverable and assume responsibility for it. But suppose your designated person with the client has a high school education and has only been working with the client for 1 week. Well, if you prepare financial statements and then you give those to this high school graduate, they probably don't have the skill, knowledge, and experience to understand those financial statements and assume responsibility. So a part of the independence documentation is that we document this designated person with the client that's supposed to oversee the non-attest services and assume responsibility for those. We document who that person is, but we also document the skill, knowledge, and experience, also known as SKI, of that designated person. So imagine with me, you're looking at your independence form, you list preparation of financial statements as a non-attest service. Then you specify the designated person with the client. Let's say it's the controller, and her name is Susie Jones. So now we've named that person that's going to review the financial statements and assume responsibility. And the next piece is we document the skill, knowledge, and experience of Susie. For example, we might say she's a CPA. She has a BBA from the University of Georgia. She takes continuing education classes to stay abreast of the changing environment for this particular client. Mistake number 3. You want to document the cumulative effect of the non-attest services that you perform. Now, this comes into play if you perform multiple non-attest services, and the more of those that you perform, the greater the risk is that you would start to look like management. So if you prepare the financial statements, you prepare the tax return, you prepare the depreciation schedule, you do the bookkeeping for the client, the more involved you are, the more it starts looking like you, the auditor, look more like management than the auditor, and that's not a good thing. So if you perform multiple non-attest services, you want to document what those are and then document whether or not the cumulative effect of those impairs your independence. Mistake number 4. If you perform a yellow book engagement and you prepare the financial statements in that audit, then you need to specify that the preparation of financial statements is a significant threat. So if you're having a peer review done of your firm the peer reviewer is going to look at your independence documentation for yellow book engagements, and he or she is going to look and see whether or not you specified the preparation of financial statements as a significant threat. This is required by the 2018 edition of the Yellow Book. And mistake number 5, let's have a little drum roll here. Mistake number 5 is the improper use of a safeguard, or maybe we don't use a safeguard at all. When you look at the AICPA independent standards and also the Yellow Book standards, you'll see a reference to what's called the conceptual framework. And when you perform non-attest services, there are situations such as the preparation of financial statements where you might need to use a safeguard. Now, I'm going to piggyback off of mistake number 4, that issue of a significant threat not being documented. Let's say that we do document the preparation of financial statements as a significant threat in this Yellow Book engagement. Well, now that we've done that, because there is a significant threat, we need a safeguard. We need a response that helps lower the risk that our independence has been impaired. Now, one of the safeguards that is commonly used in this scenario is a second person or second partner review of the financial statements. So let's say you performed an audit of a city government. It's a Yellow Book engagement. You've said there's a significant threat. So you're let's say the engagement partner for this city audit. Well, your staff, they prepare, they create the financial statements, and obviously you need to give those statements to the client so they can review the statements and assume responsibility. But in addition to that, you need to, if you're going to use this as a safeguard, provide those same financials to, say, another partner in your CPA firm for review. This is an example of a safeguard. So the threat here is a self-review threat. I prepare the financial statement, so how can I be independent? How can I audit something that I prepared, that I created, and still be independent? I'm going to have somebody else that's not a part of the audit team review those financial statements, and that will lessen the risk that my independence has been impaired. So if you document a significant threat, then you want to use a safeguard such as a second person review of the financial statements to lower the risk. So again, those 5 mistakes that CPAs make in reference to independence documentation, they are: 1, we don't document our non-attest services. 2, we don't document the skill, knowledge, and experience of the client designated person. 3, we don't document the cumulative effect of performing non-attest services. 4, in a Yellow Book engagement, when we prepare financial statements, we're not saying that that is a significant threat. And then number 5, we're not using a proper safeguard when a significant threat is identified. So think about these 5 mistakes in your future independence documentation, and this will help you stay out of hot water in your coming peer reviews. Take care, and bye now.